Because it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Oh my God, my favorite show of all time. Love it. I love it. I love it. And in fact, look, I'll even show you outside of my studio here. Look, that's the Miami Vice boat. That's how much I love Miami Vice. Yeah, I spent over $300 on that boat picture. Don't tell anybody, especially Brittany.
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Chad from the Bearded Hops Podcast, back for another Friday morning beer review. The Miami Vice thing is in reference to, actually the beer doesn't have anything to do with Miami Vice, but the beer is called Summer Vice, and if you'll notice, the font used is very Miami Vice-ish looking. So I think they're probably, when naming this beer, they were probably had Miami Vice on the mind. Plus, it's it's a summery, nice bright colors. Doesn't show up all that great on the camera, but bright orange, bright yellow, nice color blue. This is from Raised Grain Brewing, and we've talked about Raised Grain Brewing before. They're in Waukesha, Wisconsin. A couple of guys, doctors, I believe, that got together with a local business guy, entrepreneur, and started the brewery. So we won't go that depth into the brewery this time because I've talked about it before. But on the can here, on the back, it says, this is an unfiltered German-style wheat beer with a sweet hint of effervescent clove. No matter what the season, catch a little sunshine with a refreshing summer vice. And then it says Sante, which I'm assuming is probably cheers, maybe in some language. Enjoy responsibly on the bottom there. I don't know if that's an indication of the type of glass to use. I do have that kind of glass, but that's not the one I grabbed. On the side, Summer Vice, Hefewiezen Ale, Waukesha, Wisconsin, brewed and packaged by Raised Grain Brewing Company, LLC, government warning, independent craft beer logo, Hefewiezen Ale, and 1 pint. So I'm going to drink this out of my giant beer mug. It's actually a Disney Cruise Line mug. Got this as a souvenir on the Disney cruise last year, which, by the way, if you haven't been on a Disney cruise, don't worry about the kids because it's not a big deal. But that cruise line, honestly, one of the best. I mean, just the ship is just amazing. We were on the Disney Dream. What a nice boat. Very, very nice. First class all the way. It's got a very nice lemony, orangey smell to it. Just reminds you of summertime, which is it's named Summer Vice, so appropriately named, appropriate smell out of the can anyway. Let's get this baby poured. All right, well, nice big head on this. I've poured Hefeweizens before in this very mug, and I had a giant head on it, and that's one of the reasons I grabbed this big mug. So about a 2.5, 3 inch head on this to begin with, but very effervescent. Lots of bubbles coming up from the bottom, mostly translucent. Didn't quite get the whole thing in, but I'll pour the rest here in a second. Let's see, it's going for the sniff. Now you can get more of that weedy Hefeweizen smell. You still have some nice citrusy notes of orange and lemon. Yeah, it smells really, really good. The specs on this beer before I take the old ship is 5.36. Wow, they got into the hundredths of a decimal point on the ABV. 5.36 ABV and 12 IBUs. So this should be supremely drinkable. Probably, in that quintessential summer beer category. Let's see how she tastes. Prost. It's very good. It's got a really weedy aftertaste. I don't know what that was at 6 a.m. in the morning. But anyway, yeah, it's got a very wheaty aftertaste to it, which I like. When you're drinking a nice Hefeweizen, you should get that. It's got some nice citrusy notes up front. I think probably more lemony than orange on that initial taste there. Very good. Very, very good beer. I like it a lot. That's really good. There's going to be quite the competition, I think, in my own head on which beer I'm going to try to keep stocked on my boat. I've got a list going, and this one's going to go on the list of ones to bring up there. Perfect warm day beer. So anyway, as I said, Raised Grain Brewing, they are in Waukesha, Wisconsin. The two doctors started home brewing together, and they met up with a local entrepreneur type of guy, and they started talking about their unique red double IPA, and that turned into the business. So they've got a lot of good beers. The name Raised Grain comes from one of the owners. His name is Nick. His dad had a woodworking shop. And it says, in the craft of woodworking, raising the grain transforms the wood from its most basic state to its most elevated form. So Raised Grain is an homage to the artistry of woodworking and simplifies the skillful craft of our doctor brewers who are elevating grain to its most distinguished form in a very different way in their beer. So really good. I'm enjoying this one. It's very, very drinkable. I would say on the scale of beers that I like, this is in the very good category. On Untappd, Raised Grain's Summerweiss Hefeweizen, 2,379 total check-ins, 1,866 unique, added to Untappd a while ago, back in April of 2016. Not a lot of check-ins for the amount of time this beer has been around, but it's got an average rating of 3.69. So, yeah, that's in the really good category. All right, over on Beer Advocate, it has a good score according to their scale, 3.72, almost exactly the same as Untappd. There is a total, how many check-ins do we have here? 10 times this has been rated on Beer Advocate. So that just goes to show you got 2,300 check-ins on Untappd and 10 on Beer Advocate, and the check-in rating average is nearly identical. To another great weekend ahead to Sonny, Crockett, and Ricardo Tubbs. I miss you guys so much, but I got you on DVD, so I'll watch you anytime. So have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week for another Friday morning beer review. Cheers. Summerweiss. Dogs.